Hello. Today, before I begin, I would like to say that I am mostly addressing those 18 and older because I'm talking about guns, and it's usually 18 when you can buy a gun. And then I also am going to be talking about carrying a gun, and in most states, the legal age is 21, I think. So uh, if I talk about carrying a gun, I am talking about 21. So let's get started. So, how many of you have heard about crimes that could have been stopped if someone had had a gun, or how many of you have been in one of those crimes, or how many of you have heard about crimes such as sexual assault and the victim didn't have any way to defend themselves? Uh, as I've gotten older, I have heard lots of stories like this, and I have also heard that a lot of the times that people could have prevented this if they had owned a gun or had been carrying a gun. And I thank God that I have never been a victim of these crimes, but I also thank God that if one of these happened to me, I own a gun and I can defend myself from it. But today I am going to try to persuade those who have not shot a gun or learned how to use a gun to learn how. And I'm going to try to persuade those who have learned how to use a gun to practice. The United States needs more people to know how to use a gun and to start and begin carrying these guns as they get old enough, such as 21, as I said earlier. And the reason is a recent survey showed that 1 in 5 women said that they had been raped, and 1 in 4 had been reported being beaten by an intimate partner, and 1 in 6 women have been stalked. And these are just statistics off Google, but they are shocking nonetheless. But this is not just about women and guns, it's also about men and guns. Men are also sexually abused, just not as often, or we don't hear about it as much. The reason that men would need to defend themselves would be more for an intruder at work, or a robber, or somebody trying to rape his wife or something like that. And this is the reason we need guns, to defend ourselves from crimes, and this is why people should know how to use guns, own a gun, and carry a gun, so that if this happens, they can respond against the criminal. You can prevent these things from happening, as I said, to yourself and even other people, such as a guy preventing rapists to his wife, and if you learn how to use a gun, own a gun, and even carry it. So learn how to use a gun. Carrying a gun may be the difference between life and death. And Guns of America, a website that I had researched on a little bit, said that as many as 200,000 women use a gun every year to defend themselves against sexual abuse. Now, 200,000 sounds like a big number, and it is, but if it would be great to see this number go skyrocket high, and the more people with guns out there, and the more people who use these guns to defend themselves in the right way, the safer the United States is going to be. And it has been shown that not only states but countries that have citizens who carry guns have less crime, because the criminal knows what will happen if they try to rob somebody with a gun, and most likely the criminal is not gonna not gonna make it out very well. I have this picture here of this of Honduras and Switzerland, and both of the populations in these are 8.2 million, and Honduras bans citizens from owning guns, whereas Switzerland requires citizens to own guns. So they're on opposite ends of the spectrum. And Honduras has the highest homicide rate in the entire world, whereas Switzerland has the lowest homicide rate in the whole world. That should really kind of be a giveaway, because like that is pretty straightforward to me. There's lots and lots of graphs that you can see that show that states with more guns have less crime. Wayne LaPierre, the vice president of the National Rifle Association, says the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is with a good guy with a gun. And this kind of shows us that we need more good guys with gun than bad guys, and it should help us see that we should all properly learn how to use a gun. And as we do that, hopefully the crime rate gets a lot lower, as I mentioned earlier. And I just want to bring up one other thing that a lot of you have probably heard that guns are bad and that they kill people and stuff like that. But I want you to remember that it's not the guns that are killing people. It is the people behind the guns. The people behind the guns are using them to kill people and to be the criminals, are not using them for the right reasons. And they're using them for the wrong reasons, obviously. So that's another reason why we should learn how to use guns, so that we can be people that use guns for the right reason, and so that we can stop these guys using them for the bad reasons. I've got a question here for you. If you got to put yourself in the shoes of the criminal, but if you're a criminal and going to commit a crime, which location would you choose? A location that has a sign that says all weapons are prohibited on this premises, or a location that has a sign that says staff is heavily armed and trained, and any attempt to harm anyone will be met with deadly force. All weapons welcome. Now, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out or to know which location you would choose if you were a criminal. You definitely wouldn't choose the one that says that the staff's heavily armed and trained and that weapons are permitted. You're going to choose the one where you know that you've got a whole room full of victims that then they don't know how to defend themselves and they don't have anything to defend themselves with. So if it was just an accepted fact that everyone knew how to use a gun, and that those who were old enough carried the weapons, the no weapons allowed signs would be less prevalent, and criminals would be worried about committing crime anywhere, is not just on signs that, not just on buildings that have signs, these weapons are permitted. So as Switzerland, I've got another picture here. Switzerland, it's got these two girls with AR-15s on their back. It says 1 in 2 citizens has a gun in Switzerland, and like I said earlier, has the lowest crime rate in the world. And I know there's a lot of talk about guns in Switzerland, but there's also this graph here, and I don't know if you can see it very well, but the red line is guns, and the blue line is crime. And as you can see, as the guns get higher, the crime gets lower. It's a proven fact, and it's seen today all over the world. So this is where you come in. There's a lot of people out there, bad guys with guns, and so we need good guys. So how do we do this? Well, with your help. If you are younger than the legal age to carry in a state, or younger than 18 and you're not legal to buy a gun, then just learn how and take a safety course and learn how to shoot and prepare yourself for when you are old enough to carry. If you are old enough to carry, then if you haven't learned how to shoot, then take advantage of your right to bear arms and take advantage of the freedoms we have in this country. Learn how to shoot a gun and carry it so that you can defend yourself if a criminal tries to make you a victim. Well, and you might say, how do I learn how to shoot a gun? Well, there's lots of ways. A lot of times your local sheriff's office will have a safety course and sometimes handgun courses that you can take and learn how to use guns, and it's good to take a safety course anyways. There's also websites and people such as Carry Trainer. Carry Trainer is a group of guys that's willing to travel to your local range to teach you how to use a gun and how to be safe with it, and they train people no matter their skill level, so you can do that. You can also follow people such as Carry Trainer on Instagram or YouTube and watch their videos, and then go practice the tips that they give in their videos. And that's very informative, and it really helps you become a better shooter. If you do know how to shoot, as you learn how to shoot, you have to practice. Shooting is a fine motor skill, and it takes practice. So it's just like playing the piano or even pounding a nail. You have to practice. So if you do know how to shoot, then get your gun and buy some bullets and go out and practice. And it's no there's no reason to be carrying a gun if you don't know how to use it. So there's so many ways to learn how to use a gun. Your local sheriff's office, as I said, or if you have a family, that if you come from a family with guns, I'm sure your family will be more than happy to help you with that. If not, then have a trusted friend who knows something about guns take you out and show you how to shoot and defend yourself. So don't be a victim of these crimes such as sexual assault or robbery or whatever, but have confidence that you know how to defend yourself if it arises, and learn how to use a gun, but pray that you never have to use it, but be ready in case you do have to use it. One final quote that I want to leave you with says, "You may not like guns, you may not believe in God, but if someone breaks into your home, the first two things you are going to do are call someone with a gun and pray they get there fast." So don't find yourself in this situation calling somebody with a gun and praying that they get there fast. Just learn how to use a gun, and when you get old enough, buy your own gun and practice with it. And then as you reach the old enough age, then carry it and exercise your right to bear arms, and be safe out there.